Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
Life doesn't pause when you're sick. Vaccines against respiratory illnesses can help protect you and give you more playtime with your best friend. Depending on age and health status, vaccinations for flu, COVID-19, RSV, or pneumococcal infection may be recommended. Vaccines can help keep you from having a rough time. Learn more at cveep.org/vaccines-protect. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and CVEEP, fighting infectious respiratory disease.
Back in December of 1978, Charlie Papazian and Charlie Mattson formed the American Homebrewers Association, the goal of which was to promote and protect the hobby of homebrewing. Well, just a few months later, in February of 1979, brewing beer at home was legalized on the federal level, and since then, the AHA has worked tirelessly to ensure citizens in all 50 states have the ability to make beer at home. A couple decades later, the AHA became a division of the Brewers Association, though earlier this year it was announced that they'd be parting ways. Many people were surprised by this news, present company certainly included, and in order to help clarify things, the executive director of the AHA, Julia Herz, sat down with patrons of Brülosophy a couple months ago to answer some questions. Now, these sessions are usually reserved for patrons, but given the important role the AHA has played in the world of homebrewing, we decided to share Julia's session with all of our listeners, and that's what you're going to be hearing today. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Patreon, it is a really cool platform that frankly allows us to keep bringing you this podcast every week. Those people who appreciate what we're doing enough to make a small monthly pledge are known as patrons, and in return for their support, we give them a little something extra as a way to say thanks. You can learn all about the various rewards we offer patrons over at patreon.com/Brülosophy, so I won't spend too much time on it here, except for to say that our two most popular levels of support are the $3 tier, which gets you an invitation to occasional monthly live brew days with Brülosophy contributors, as well as these live Q&A sessions with people in the brewing world, and our $5 tier that also gets you a discount at Yakima Valley Hops. Again, if you're at all interested in learning more about being an integral part of keeping us around, please head over to patreon.com/Brülosophy. Another way you can help us out is by using the links found at brülosophy.com/support. We're affiliated with most of the places people buy their brewing stuff online, including Amazon, More Beer, and Great Fermentations. When you use those links, which you can also bookmark for future use, we get a very small commission that does help us to cover some of our production costs. And finally, if you wouldn't mind letting us know what you think about this show by leaving a rating and review in Apple Podcast or wherever it is you listen to podcasts that allows you to leave those reviews, we'd appreciate that as well. On top of giving us an idea of what listeners think about how we're doing, which we absolutely take to heart, those reviews also make it easier for people who may not have heard of the Brülosophy podcast yet to more easily find it. All right, feedback is brought to you by Clawhammer Supply, who are known for their awesome all-in-one electric brewing systems. I've brewed on both their 120 and 240 volt systems, and I'm telling you, these things are awesome, efficient, easy to use with a relatively small footprint. You're not going to be disappointed with one of these units. Plus, the guys behind the company run an awesome YouTube channel, which you can find by searching YouTube for Clawhammer Supply. If you're in the market for electric brewing gear, make sure to check out what Clawhammer Supply has to offer at clawhammersupply.com. And don't forget to let them know Brülosophy sent you when you're checking out. That's clawhammersupply.com. Listener Keith McCallion wrote in with some feedback after listening to our episode where Will and I discussed our experiences with barbecue and sourdough bread making. Keith said, I just wanted to let you know how much I enjoyed this episode. I've been interested in barbecue for a while, and last year got myself a Kamado grill. Just as homebrew and barbecue are adjacent or complementary to each other, the experience in Ireland is unfortunately more magnified. Yes, Keith lives in Ireland. When you guys talk about your local homebrew stores or being able to go into Costco and have a huge range of barbecue-ready meats, I can't help but be envious. Homebrew and proper barbecue aren't common pastimes at all in Ireland, so we don't have a ton on offer for either. Thankfully, a couple of online retailers for both have sprung up, but it's a long way from what you guys have on your doorstep. In any case, I love spending a bit of time on both. They just need a bit of pre-planning here. Again, thanks for this episode. As a direct result of it, I placed an order for some short ribs and a brisket to try this weekend, and I would love to hear more on that in the future. Well, hell yes, Keith. I'd love to hear that we're inspiring people even outside of brewing and stuff. That's such a cool thing. And I absolutely love barbecue and sourdough bread making. In fact, I've got a loaf that's rising right now of bread. I know Will kind of was more into the barbecue stuff, and I do the cheat code version of it by using a pellet grill. But it's so cool to hear that even over in Ireland, you're picking up a Kamado grill, which are excellent, and being inspired by the stuff that we talk about here. Since that episode, we've actually heard from quite a few listeners who enjoy similar brewing adjacent hobbies like barbecue and bread making, which have, in my opinion, a lot of similarities with home brewing. You get to kind of get your knuckles deep into these things and making your own stuff, the whole DIY culture. I'd never really considered how access to certain types of meat, though, might be different outside of America. That is really interesting to me. It actually reminded me of a trip my family took to Costa Rica last year. Our Airbnb had a grill, so we figured we'd barbecue up some local meat for dinner one night. But the options were quite a bit different than what we are familiar with here in the States. So we definitely made it work. It was just a unique experience that I really valued. And I'd love to make my way back to Ireland one day to try your barbecue, Keith, maybe with some delicious Dead Center Brewing beer. Oh. Keith did mention that we met up at Dead Center when my wife and I were on a trip in Ireland a few years ago. So thank you so much for hitting us up, dude. If you have show feedback, you could send it to feedback@brülosophy.com or drop us a note on social media. Well, the gift-giving holidays are just around the corner, and what better to ask for than some Brülosophy duds? We are offering everything from t-shirts and hoodies to hats, fanny packs, phone cases, and a lot more stuff in the Brülosophy shop. You can check out all of the goodies that we have to offer by heading to brülosophy.com/shop, then clicking the product images to make your way to our Dashery store. You can go straight there at brülosophy.dashery.com. All kinds of fun stuff that you can pick up with our branding on it. All right, we'll be back with Julia Hertz's Q&A.
I've got Dan Morgan here on the pod. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going good, man. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dan Morgan. I'm an attorney and a managing partner at Morgan & Morgan, which is America's largest injury law firm.
That's pretty awesome. Why do you guys think you win so many cases?
The insurance companies and other companies that we go against know that we're going to take it to the end, that we believe in the case. So we fight for every dollar, and we're not afraid to go that extra mile for our clients.
Are insurance companies actually afraid of you guys?
We don't bluff. We take it to trial, and we are not strangers of getting very, very, very large verdicts.
Awesome. So how does someone get in contact with Morgan & Morgan? What would I do if I got into an accident?
Probably the easiest way is dialing pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. And our call center is always waiting to take your call. 24/7, 365.
Wow. Dan Morgan from Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks for having me.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
There's no denying that stainless steel is the best material for brewing equipment, and Delta Brewing Systems offers some of the lowest prices on high-quality stainless gear, like the Firm Tank, which in addition to holding 8 gallons or 30 liters of work, comes with a domed lid to even further reduce the chances of a messy blow-off. Plus, it can hold up to 4 psi of pressure for closed transfers. Delta Brewing Systems also has their own line of brew kettles, as well as one of the lowest-priced all-in-one electric brewing systems out there, and their prices are shockingly low. If you're in the market for legit stainless gear that won't break the bank, do yourself a favor and head over to deltabrewingsystems.com today.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. you're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
We all know that designing recipes is really fun, and doing it well is so much easier with good software. We at Brülosophy recently made the switch to Brewfather, and honestly, y'all, we could not be happier. Brewfather utilizes the latest technology to bring you the most robust cloud-based recipe design software that can be accessed anywhere, on your phone, tablet, desktop, and even offline. It also works seamlessly with numerous third-party devices to make it easier to monitor every step of your brew. I know change can be difficult, but trust me when I say you need to go to brewfather.app today to try it out for yourself. That's brewfather.app.
As I was preparing this episode, I received an email from the AHA going over some important updates. Since Julia's session was back in July, I thought I'd share some of these updates with you all, and there's a link to the full article in the description of this episode. I know a lot of folks who will be thrilled to hear that HomebrewCon is coming back. The current AHA board is on track to announce details about HomebrewCon 2026, so keep your eyes peeled for that if that's something you're interested in. As for how things have been going this year, there was no dedicated conference, but the National Homebrew Competition was a success with over 2,900 entries from over 1,000 AHA members. Congrats to everybody who fared well in this year's NHC, including Tyler Miller of the Arizona Society of Homebrewers Club for winning the Samuel Adams Ninkasi Award. That is a hell of an accomplishment. The AHA has a ton in store for the future with board elections happening in the first quarter of the new year. So if these things matter to you, consider becoming a member sooner than later. Again, the link to the full update article is in the description of this episode. And now, Executive Director of the AHA, Julia Herz, takes questions from Brülosophy patrons. Little disclaimer, the audio quality isn't perfect, but we did our best. Well, I don't know if Julia even really needs an introduction because she's so well known in the homebrew world as the ED, the Executive Director of the AHA. And with all of the stuff that's been going on with the AHA over the last couple of years, I thought it would be a really neat opportunity for our patrons, you know, those who are so dedicated to homebrewing that they are involved with something like Brülosophy, to have the opportunity to ask Julia questions about what's going on and for her to share some of the what's going on with the AHA that's been going on behind the scenes with the new board and whatnot. So, Julia, thank you so much for taking the time out of your Sunday to spend some time with us today.
Awesome. Thanks, Marshall, for your Sunday, too, because I know you put in the time and the hours to fuel what you do, and it's everybody's weekend, so kind of neat. And happy summer, happy Sunday, happy beers. I don't have one in front of me. I've had many good beverages this weekend, though. I'm in the middle of a festival weekend. I'm talking to you from my home in Lyons, Colorado, where the original Oscar Blues started. Right out that window, 10-minute walk or a 5-minute golf cart ride, is the original OB. They had to get bigger and, much more comprehensive in their brewing, and our town could not handle their water needs. That's why they ended up in Longmont for their production facility. But I really plan this more of a conversation. I will, if I can share screen, I have some things I could show you all. Marshall and I have been engaged since I first reached out when I started as executive director 3.5 years ago for the AHA. And I walked into the AHA, still as I do today, very optimistic, working with what I had to work with. And I'm excited we've made it through the other side of a pretty big move. The American Homebrewers Association, me and my founding board, your founding board, we've left the Brewers Association and we've gone independent. Kind of cool, amazing. I think it's the best play for an institutional kind of generational organization that really didn't just help get the hobby of homebrewing on the map globally, but also literally launched, I think, the whole craft beer movement and take that very seriously. So I'm an optimistic homebrewer, and I am you're optimistic executive director of the American Homebrewers Association. We have more than 20,000 members. Maybe some of you are. And in some of the move that we are making, hold on, I got to let my dog out. I was on a roll, but let me let my dog out. Come on, buddy. And in some of the moves that we're making to change the business model for the AHA, we are filing at minimum, we'll be doing maybe more, but for 501c3 status. So the AHA isn't just about membership. We certainly lead with that. We're not just about beer. We certainly lead with that. But we're going for 501c3 status, which is about the public good, education, the scientific pursuit, all the things the Brülosophy community definitely understands and gets, and so does Marshall. And I take that really, really seriously, and I'm very excited to not have my dog barking in maybe a minute or two. And so that's kind of on the horizon is when you hear us, your founding board, your new committee chairs, we're expanding our horizons. So ask me about what committees are there. When you hear us talking about the AHA, it's not just about members, really. It's about the public good and our cultural contributions to society. And that's what your national organization should be doing, is growing that and turning new people onto homebrewing, but also serving those that want to advance and grow and delivering community. I'd love to show you all the strategic plan for the AHA that the board has been very busy doing. So I'll show you that. And then maybe we can open it up to questions, because I can go to many paths. Marshall, I didn't talk about my personal journey in homebrewing. I can talk about that when we get to Q&A. But I'm a homebrewer through and through, NHC award-winning old ale for NHC with me and my husband, pretty hard to do. BJCP judge for many years, all that. So I'm one of you. Let me go to, if I'm able, Marshall, am I able to share screen? I will try. Share content.
Yeah, you're absolutely able to share your screen.
Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to share a window and good. Can you all see homebrewersassociation.org?
Yeah, looks great.
Okay,
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep, we
Thank
see
you.
it.
Okay, y'all, thank you. So homebrewersassociation.org, a lot of our content's not locked down. Some of it is, but this website, if you're brewing anything included in your brewing repertoire, nobody else has the validated, literally BJCP judge validated recipes like us. We always publish gold medal winning from each year of National Homebrew Competition, thousands of amazing recipes and more for sure. But anyway, this is the AHA strategic plan. I think it's fun to show you all, and I'll make it a little smaller. This is a 2025 strategic plan because the board knows that there'll be changes to it. And so you got to start somewhere. We're kind of starting from scratch, even though we're a 47-year young organization, which is a really neat way to look at things. But we're a complex org, right? We've got a lot of complexity, a lot of things that we do and deliver, and I'll overview some of that. But when it comes down to what the AHA now today, and when we talk about the AHA, I just hope we get to a place where we talk about the future, right? That's all I've ever been focused on. The past is the past. And we're here to do good and support you all, and as homebrewers, as the community, make you proud. But these are the strategic priorities from the board: organizational strength and health, because the AHA has definitely had challenges and changes. When I stepped in and saw the finances and saw the commitments from our events and goals we weren't necessarily making, it was, not a rosy picture. It also wasn't a dismal picture, but we need organizational strength and health, and you'll see details on what we're looking to do tied to that. Knowledge and learning, that's the base. That's the core to it all, obviously. And then community collaboration and competition. I love what we do in terms of that, and I think we can grow it and evolve it and refine it. This is just what we filed when we filed in the state of Colorado on January 22nd, 2025, to become an independent incorporated organization. When you do that with the state, you are an organization. You file articles of incorporation. But you aren't, that's not the 501c3 filing. That will be with the feds. But this is the purpose behind what AHA is saying that we do: organize exclusively for charitable, educational, scientific purposes, history, culture, and art of homebrewing, particularly through education of its members and the general public. That is core. That is the purpose. And then organizational strength and health, that strategic priority number one. This is what we aim to accomplish in 2025. Business-wise, stabilize finances. Absolutely. The whole deck of cards has been thrown up in the air. I'm happy to talk to you all somewhat about that. And soon enough, we'll have a big, full kind of unveiling to our members too on the details. But stabilize our finances, establish a valid 3-year strategic plan, because as any proper organization should have, you don't just go year by year and plan year by year. You need 3 to 5 year plans. And so we're focused on that. And then staffing for that transition. I am now the ED for the new AHA, no longer with the Brewers Association. That was something to get confirmed. We also reestablished our editor-in-chief, Mel Turzin of the amazing Zymergy magazine. And we are, looking to beef up what we do. So we have to find the specialist people and frankly also volunteer leaders. We also carried out on our operations. We hired an association management company. There's about 150 of them, 200 of them in the country. AMCs, or association management companies, specialize in supporting nonprofits in their operations. Literally, that's what they do. So we've hired one and a great partner at that. And then we want to focus on governance and planning for sure. Community and collaboration and competition is that strategic priority. This is what we look to, get nurtured and fuel in 2025. Competition-wise, we executed 2025 NHC, close to 3,000 entries, 1,000 plus brewers entered. Pretty amazing, not with the numbers that it used to be, but you cannot scoff at that in today's event environment. Very pleased, and yet it was a kind of unicorn year once again. Since San Diego, or frankly even Pittsburgh, it's been a little bit different each year. So look for the AHA to get back to a cadence of NHC being tied to HomebrewCon in 2026, and we are bringing HomebrewCon back in 2026, and that prep has already started. And then knowledge and learning, strategic priority number 3, education. Our goal is to continue the services and benefits that if you're a member for less than $50 a year, that you continue to get what the AHA has promised you will get. But look for changes in 2026. We might add some things, we might drop some things, we might refine some things. We will, not even might. But 2025, we aim to continue the services and get the transition done. That's been a big enough lift, and I'm excited to say that we are doing both. And then volunteerism is a huge part. Look for AHA to become a volunteer-driven organization again. When I stepped in, it was very staff-driven because of changes during COVID to the AHA. And that's not where a national association should be. A national association should be driven by its volunteer leaders. We have now fully empowered our volunteer leaders. I am so pleased to have our founding board of directors, and you can see on homebrewersassociation.org if you want their job description. They are fiduciary responsibility leaders on the dotted line, and they set strategic direction for the AHA, and that's a big thing to have gotten back to. That'll give us, I think, better momentum and where we should be going in the right direction. And then I don't know what you do or don't know about the AHA, but this is what the AHA does today. Again, for less than $50 a year of membership, this is what we do for those 20,000 plus members. Our ecosystem is very strong. Our directories, always need updating, and they are kind of frozen in time unless we are able to discover there's been changes to any of the shops listed or changes to any of the homebrew clubs listed. But we really do publish resources that I think fuel the whole homebrewing ecosystem, and those directories are really key, and a lot of people use them for good to connect with shops and clubs. And we have almost 200,000 followers. If you don't follow AHA on social, you should. Beautiful photography. We will inspire you day in and day out to remember to homebrew or to try whatever new recipe or dabble in fermenting. It just goes to the body of work that the AHA has and reminding our members what's out there and the public. And we have free What's New in Brews newsletter every other week. Nobody does awards like AHA. Nobody. Annual recognition awards to this day are still kind of the gold standard, but I'd like to see us up the game and improve how we do it. And then we have supplier partners who really need to connect with you all so they are successful and thrive as businesses. And so we're successful as homebrewers and have the best resources to raw materials, ingredients, and homebrew supplies and equipment. The website's a big deal. Hundreds of thousands of visitors each month, literally. Up here, AHA Forum is brand new. Infrastructure of $20,000 plus, investment to bring AHA Forum to a modern era. So we're on Discourse, not Discord. You do not have to be an AHA member to be a part of the forum. Go on the forum. You've got Drew Beecham, Denny Kahn, still to this day doing amazing moderating. And I know Brülosophy has amazing communities, but we're all not just focused on one area of information. So good to just remind you all that AHA Forum's there and you should check it out. We do the annual homebrew holidays. That's literally for the good of the whole community. It gives shops, local homebrew clubs, suppliers a reason to rally, in May for Big Brew, Home Fermentation Day, which used to be Mead Day in August, and Learn to Homebrew Day is coming up. We're getting ready to announce that recipe. Member deals, albeit definitely merits, I think, some evolution and refreshing. It's still a pretty kick-ass thing. And if you haven't checked out the online deals, nobody else does discounts like our online deals. And, there's 1,000+ in-person ones. So good stuff. Bringing HomebrewCon back. We insure more than 300+, or we at least help make available club insurance, which keeps clubs protected. Very appropriate thing for a national org. Competitions, not just NHC, but AHA, BJCP sanctioned competitions. There's more than 800. All of those competitions that BJC puts on is sanctioned in partnership with the AHA. I mentioned our recipes earlier. Validated national homebrew competition recipes, clone recipes, AHA member submitted recipes. That's your library and body of work to pull from. Zymergy, which is amazing, still every other month. We're in print. Nobody else is in print as a dedicated homebrewing magazine. Quality, top-notch, I think, magazine that also merits evolution and new strategic planning, but still delivers to this day incredible reasons and resources to homebrew. And, I could keep talking on this slide, but the volunteer leadership is about to really pop. And I'm just so excited to get this membership group, since it's been around since 1978, back in the hands of the leaders really doing the work on the volunteer side. This is our mission. Missions may or may not make any sense or matter, but it grounds everyone. And so in a few years, we can look back and know what, we were supposed to be doing. It's why the AHA exists and what we will do. And then the most exciting thing is AHA's new vision. A home brewer in every neighborhood and a homebrew club in every community. This literally shows the support we plan to bring clubs who also, just like shops, I think, are having a harder time. And so we're not only about clubs. We're certainly leading with the individual home brewer. We don't feel like you have to be a member of a club, but we do want to see clubs, those 1,700, survive and thrive. And we're about to give the officers up the game on what we do to support them. So pay attention to that. And get involved if you're a club officer in AHA. These are the new AHA values, kind of cool. Joy, obviously the joy of homebrewing is there. A lot of thought went into this. You see the volunteerism, obviously, that I keep reinforcing. And then the community and education. These just each fit seamlessly to me. They seem such a slam dunk, but they took a lot of time to refine and get to. And these values will not just ground our work today in 2025, but future volunteer leaders, future board of directors, future committees, and future AHA engaged community members. And then if we haven't had committees really beyond AHA had the governing committee for much of my tenure, and then they were evolved into an AHA committee under the Brewers Association. Now we have committees under the board of directors. And so these committees are getting ready. Each of the chairs, Drew Beecham will be chair of Clubs Committee. Community and Education is Doug Piper, if anyone of you know him, and Drew Beecham. Events is Sandy Cockerham, BJCP president, and Gary Glass, the former AHA director. Finance is Gregory Rosikoff, who's not only a BJCP judge, but he's also the crisis management officer for Phi Beta Epsilon, which is a 200+ chapter fraternity. So he knows associations and he knows, volunteer organizing. And then governance to really help ground us with the chair as the chair of the founding board, Shauna Cormier. So super fun stuff to share. I don't know how sexy or exciting that is to all of you, but when you're an organization that is on the national level, also thinking globally, you need your grounding foundational documents to guide you. And so that's why it's so exciting to share all of that. Zyme, I write for it. Marshall's getting it. I continue to know that we have a lot of room to grow, but this magazine continues to deliver. And I'm just excited to see homebrewing communities like Brülosophy also, showing the way and thriving and evolving. And the fact that you all show up on a Sunday night for your Patreon group that you're supporting Brülosophy for, that's pretty cool. You are engaged in a deeper way. Just like many of us, many in the kind of core of the funnel of the community. And I'm just excited tonight to hear what your questions are, learn from you all, and answer anything that's helpful for your mindset, tied to homebrewing. So that's the big picture for now. Thank you, Hirogi, for your hand clap. Hello, Sasha. Thank you for showing your face. Anyone got any questions, comments, conversation? Doesn't have to be, it could just be conversive from here. It doesn't have to be all about what I'm here to share if you want answers, but I'd love to hear your all's chatter.
Hey, Julia. I don't know if you remember me. Last time we talked, I was talking in capacity as a journalist for Yankee Brew News. I'm not doing that now. So just so you know, nothing
Right
I'm
on,
talking
Eric.
about is going into print.
Right on.
Just so you know, I thought I might throw that out there. But the question I have has to do with NHC,
Yep.
or no, HomebrewCon.
Yep.
And whether I think I've had I know I had some discussions with Drew Beecham and about this in the past, and maybe this is all pretty obvious right now, but I'm wondering how what ideas you have for right sizing NHC, because I keep saying NHC, I meant HomebrewCon. Used to be National HomebrewCon. Anyway, and the reason I say that is that I found it really interesting when we had for Pittsburgh, I don't remember the numbers, but there were numbers thrown out.
People. 1,300 in total attended Pittsburgh, and then the same amount attended San Diego.
Perfect.
Two very different
and people were
conferences.
saying how that was oh my God, blah, blah, blah. But I remember the days when that was a record-breaking number and really great.
Yes.
And then I'm like, well, what's the difference? It's all homebrewing. We're all still doing it. It's just that, maybe it's too bad we didn't get enough people to go, and the venue was too big. But I mean, there are a lot, and I'm sure you figure this out. There's a lot of smaller venues out there for that, and I'm wondering what you're exploring and what kind of venues you guys are thinking about.
I love it, and I mean, first of all, as a national organization, we should not. It was the last resort to not give our community their annual conference, right? And so you brought up the phrase right sizing of HomebrewCon, and we need to plan for a smaller HomebrewCon and sell it out. And so, look for a HomebrewCon that is in alternative venues, no more convention centers, everyone's on vacation. I walked into Pittsburgh. I'm like, this is awesome. Why are we in a convention center? That was my thought. I was not engaged in years prior setting that up. I was just like, what's going on? And then San Diego, I'm like, cool, we're at a resort. Love the idea of town and country. But the numbers that we planned for were bigger than what we met. And so those 2 years kind of crushed the AHA. Not a good plan. I'm a certified association executive. I'm very interested in proper budgeting and finances, and you do not budget on the books for events that you cannot slam dunk, or it will crush your organization. So look for a smaller HomebrewCon, less than 1,000 people. It'd be a great problem to have that more people want to go. We'll have people mad at us either way. But with any event, I mean, I've got wristband here because I left my local town festival out that window called Rocky Grass right now. Peter Rowan's paying right now, but that's okay. I'll catch the string dusters later. And do I get mad at that event when they sell out? No, I should have gotten tickets earlier. So, we're held to really high standards. I think the AHA is a national nonprofit, and I get it. We're here to have to deliver on those standards, but we're also here to hopefully, evolve our members to show some grace towards their national org. So smaller HomebrewCon, we look by September. We will have details on the venue and location by September. We're in RFP stage right now. And Eric, it's honestly like a 2-year process because we kind of we finally have, all authority, right? We have full authority now, but that just started earlier this month. July 7th, we went fully independent. When we incorporated in July, there was a transition phase that had to happen after that. So we are now off the books. I am now with our full service association management company. Our founding board is now fully in charge. And so we're going to need 2 years to really get to a cadence and a rhythm for like the HomebrewCon that we really, really, really want to have. But the founding board is it's our number one priority. Bring back HomebrewCon, in summer of next year. And so to do that, there would normally be a smart process. Hey, local club A, B, or C in whatever state, who wants to bring HomebrewCon to you? Who's going to have a local committee that's really going to show that local pride? And frankly, I felt it in Kansas City this year going to NHC Awards. We just had the NHC final round judging and awards there, if any of you watched that live stream or entered. And that was, so refreshing. And San Diego the year prior really, did great on first round, but that in itself is an event. So we want a local committee. It can be a club, it probably would be, or a local community of homebrewers. They're core to the success of any HomebrewCon location that we will pick. We're going to need kind of in the fall, we're going to literally start our process for 2027. Right now, by September, we're going to have 2026 no matter what we do and don't get. And it's going to be great, but it's just not going to be the full way that we would normally do the process. So smaller HomebrewCon, location TBD, and that's a little bit of the high level of the thinking right now.
I'll send you a suggestion for 2027.
Please do, Eric. I'd love it.
It would involve two clubs because it'd be halfway between the two. I'll let you know.
Great. And we'll get more formal. I mean, I don't want to script how we do it, but for 2027, we'll probably open up the process, make the RFP public, have a form application of who wants to not bid on it because you're not paying anything, but like who wants to show what you have to, offer. And so it'll give us 2 years, but come hang with us in June or July, wherever we end up in the summer of 2026. And it's going to be a hell of a friggin' party because all the suppliers are going to be excited. They're already budgeting now for travel, the ones that we've been talking to. And it's like, we need to give homebrewing this kick in the pants. And it's not just about the AHA, but the AHA is the umbrella organization and one of the national organizations out there, but frankly, the core nonprofit one, that's some of our responsibility. So we're going to deliver on that very well in 2026 and make it even better because the members will be fully briefed and in charge for 2027.
Hey, Julia, I have a kind of a follow-up question on that. And by the way, huge Dusters fan, so enjoy the show tonight.
Thank you.
So I went to San Diego 2015, San Diego, whatever that was a couple years ago, and then Minneapolis, what was that, 19 or 17 or something? And one thing that struck me about the latest San Diego was kind of how fewer vendors there were. And that was such a cool part of that was that the expo floor and, you'd get like an entire 10-pound pack of grain from Vireman and, 4 ounces of free hops every day and people line up. And that kind of was not nearly as impressive this last time. And I have to imagine that that's not totally on the AHA, that there's some market forces there. But what do you have to say about that? Like, I thought that was kind of a huge draw, and that was really disappointing that wasn't, I mean, I had a good time, but I felt sorry for like first timers that I brought with me that didn't kind of get to experience the glory days of the expo hall. I'm curious if you guys, like, if you noticed that, had any thoughts about how to bring back such an exciting expo hall, or if just those days are done.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because the FOMO, right? Fear of missing out on previous year's vibe. Like, I can't make any guarantees. And I do think that, at least from the operations side, I was very pleased with what I saw our team, frankly, on the Brewers Association side, execute in San Diego. It was a meaningful homebrew expo, but it was not. And I went to Rhode Island, Providence. I was in Oakland. I've been to a lot of homebrew cons too, judging and speaking and whatnot during my career. But it wasn't the glory days. And so I don't really know how to disrupt that, like, hey, let's get it to the years past feel. Part of it might be the size, right? We had a really big room and you felt like it was so spread out. We're definitely bringing Club Night back. We're definitely bringing Homebrew Expo back. We're going to have to evolve the seminars and sessions. I mean, it was 30 plus seminars at a conference for 1,300 people. So there's a formula there that, the math just kind of, I think, split everybody up. So they didn't feel like they were in, packed rooms. And so I know what it's supposed to feel like, and I hope that the suppliers deliver. We also want to get heavier on our prizes for NHC. I think that's gone away. When you used to medal at NHC, it was bling blingy, right? And so we got to get back to that as well. And the whole point is you all are the heroes. You know, the attendees at a conference, you're the heroes. We're kind of the guides to bring you to that experience that holds you in that place. And as a hero, it's great to get free swag. As a hero, it's great to feel like you're in a happening, packed. This is the beer scales tip to that area in the country just because everybody showed up kind of feel. So I hear you, Jordan. I hope. All I know is that whoever's in 2026, that's going to be the comeback year. And then we'll have to talk about how to slam dunk it for 2027, because I know there's going to be things that we just can't get firing yet because it's our first year really running things on our own.
Thanks. Looking forward to it.
I've got Dan Morgan here on the pod. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going good, man. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dan Morgan. I'm an attorney and a managing partner at Morgan & Morgan, which is America's largest injury law firm.
That's pretty awesome. Why do you guys think you win so many cases?
The insurance companies and other companies that we go against know that we're going to take it to the end, that we believe in the case. So we fight for every dollar, and we're not afraid to go that extra mile for our clients.
Are insurance companies actually afraid of you guys?
We don't bluff. We take it to trial, and we are not strangers of getting very, very, very large verdicts.
Awesome. So how does someone get in contact with Morgan & Morgan? What would I do if I got into an accident?
Probably the easiest way is dialing pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. And our call center is always waiting to take your call. 24/7, 365.
Wow. Dan Morgan from Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks for having me.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
Chilling work can be a chore, especially after a long brew day, but not with the Exhilarator Counterflow Chiller, which can chill a 5-gallon or 19-liter batch of wort in 5 minutes or less, leading to a strong cold break and clear wort in the fermenter. Brülosophy's Matt Del Fiacco uses the Exhilarator Max and absolutely loves it. In addition to improved chilling efficiency, every Exhilarator comes with a 5-year warranty that covers the entire chiller for manufacturer defects. If you're looking to up your chilling game and a CFC is right for you, head over to exhilarator.com today.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
As every brewer knows, the best beer requires the best hops, which Yakima Valley Hops provides fresh from the source to brewers around the world, carrying everything from classics like Cascade to modern favorites like Galaxy and Mosaic, as well as other ingredients and gear. Yakima Valley Hops has it all. And don't forget to check out their new podcast, The Late Edition, where the YVH crew goes into depth on our favorite plant with industry experts. Head over to YakimaValleyHops.com now to see all they have to offer and subscribe to The Late Edition wherever it is you listen to podcasts.
I just going back to your strategic plan and all that stuff. I think I'm vice president of the Boston Wort Processors out here, and it's a lot of disillusioned and cynical people regarding the HA. I don't think it's necessarily fair, whatever, but there's this attitude that I think is probably it's not unique. I don't know what whether membership has begun to tick back up again yet, or that people are just sort of wait and see. I don't really know, but I think that I could be completely guilty of missing out on what might be done, but at some point we need to go like that strategic plan you went through, like a video or something that is you can present to clubs or people that are interested in checking back in. I mean, what is there a plan for that? Did I miss it? Where do I find it? Because I'm all about supporting the AHA.
Totally love your questions. And,
and full disclosure, I let my membership lapse, but that'll be changing.
And so that please do change it if you're willing, and it'll put you in the loop. We also don't require membership to get the newsletter. I mean, if you at least read AHA emails or start to follow our social, you kind of get a sense of what's going on. So I would challenge any of those that are disappointed. And I know we disappointed former members or current members, right? But they need to speak from a place of currency or current status. So I do talks to homebrew clubs. I'd be happy to beam in. I gave like 80 talks in 2023. I think 70 in 2022. I didn't even tally them in 2024 because a lot of the governance stuff started to take over, and the transition started with the AHA. But like, I want a chance to talk to clubs so they can see the AHA of today. And I don't blame them for being disappointed. I mean, I saw things happening that disappointed me, but any one national organization is not one person. It's the group behind them. So you can at least tell them, hey, if you guys want to get in the mix, start getting AHA communications, rejoin if you're interested, read Zymergy, whatever. Let's have Julia beam in. Let's give AHA, the new AHA, a chance, because that gives, I think, the future of homebrewing and, national orgs like Marshall too, and Brülosophy, right? Why the jaded nature of anyone against an organization, that org will never win unless those on the inside are convinced that, hey, let's look at it from a fresh set of eyes. So that's all I would suggest. And Eric, email me.
I'm all about trying to find out what those fresh set of eyes can see. And so social, I mean, I don't know. I follow AHA on Facebook, and I didn't see a lot, so I don't know what I'm missing. But
yeah, and you're about to see our social media get more engagement based, much more prolific. That was another thing that was very streamlined in the post-COVID AHA. So don't worry about that. But the emails really are pretty informative, and I'm going to try to find the chat, and I'll put my email for anyone that wants to email me, and I'll send you the link on how to request a talk. And thank you so much to Marshall for, making this an opportunity.
Oh, that would be cool. I mean, we could, Boston Warts has been pretty, we've been teaming up with the Worcester Wizards and stuff, doing joint meetings and stuff. It's kind of hard. Everybody needs to drive far, but actually, a remote, you could kill two birds if you had some sort of talk to local, Massachusetts or New England homebrew clubs or something like that.
Yeah, and I have such mad respect for that area of the country. I mean, I just think of so many nooks and crannies of the U.S. that has just such amazing culture. And then I feel for the culture in local areas that I see dwindling because a homebrew shop went out of business, or the homebrew club officers that, they got more mature in age and nobody wanted to take over and they were busy doing all the work. One thing that I really want to do, because we have these 1,700 kind of incubator, and maybe it's less, could be 1,500 homebrew clubs. We got to audit our directory soon. The majority of them, though, are incorporated and are a nonprofit. And so I really think that the AHA, through our nonprofit experience, we're hosting events. We know how to negotiate contracts. We know governance. I can school anybody on how to, really get volunteerism. And that's, maybe you don't see that for AHA now, but you're about to see that pop. Fundraising, all of that. We want to help the clubs on the local level do all of those things and kind of be sounding boards and supporters for those efforts. So AHA is not just thriving and using all these, sound techniques that are part of the association and nonprofit world, but have the clubs and the club officers benefit from that knowledge and fire on more cylinders. So that's also in the mix. And I'd love to see us do mentoring. Hopefully that'll come along when we're able to add new committees. but that's a 2026 thing, because right now just adding the new committees that I showed you all is about what we can do.
Well, if you want to reach out to a whole bunch of clubs in the New England area, there's the New England Homebrew Jamboree is happening the weekend after Labor Day. And if there's like a QR code or something like that, I can put at booths and stuff like that. It'd be real fun. Just like, hey, check out what's happening or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just there's like homebrewers from all over New England go there, and it's a blast.
Totally. Yeah, and for those bigger events, and Marshall, I don't know how much you travel, but like I've always stood ready as your ED. I mean, I'm not necessarily Charlie Papazian, but I'm who you got now, and I got game. And I invite the invites. I've gone to SoCal Fest, Northern California Homebrew Fest, judged in Michigan Mazer Cup. My suitcase has duct tape on it, right?
Come on out. It's like a weekend of club night. It's a blast.
Right. But the year in advance is really smart, because we have to budget for only so many trips. Or I will ask you, can you pay for my travel, which is legitimate for any speaker to also, have the event considered.
But honestly, I think just a link to re-engage, like a QR code, just having that or something like that would be really good. Just so like, oh yeah, AHA, what's going on? I heard blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, check this out,
Yeah, and we're talking about doing more communicative things. I don't know if you all ever catch Zymergy Live, if you are a member. We had Brad Smith on 2 months ago. 3 months ago was Randy Mosier. We had the founding board on in March. We just had Dr. Julia Skinner as a pregame for Fermentation Day. Charlie's been on it. Ken Grossman from Sierra. I mean, we get just like, we're able to get whoever we want to get, and our members are running that, which is cool. The Events and Education Subcommittee, which is now the Community and Education Committee, they run that. And that's been such a cool addition, is the magazine has a webinar, and it's a monthly webinar. And so that's another good one. Eric, why don't you just email me and we'll keep it going from there. I really appreciate your interest and suggestions.
Hey, Julia, I'm going to jump in. So I'm based in Sacramento, California, which means we're near the state capital, and it's hard to not think about state politics and what homebrew is looking for in that space. And so I'm just interested in what road barriers and roadblocks you're coming across in trying to expand this, and what you're running into in terms of like policy barriers. I think of shipping across state lines as being one of them, but a few others. There's I've seen legislation come through that was unsuccessful here in California, and I'm just trying to understand where you need to go, what's going on in other states, and if there's any way we can be helpful in that.
Super cool. You sound like a candidate for the governance committee, which not only sets policy for AHA, but it also will get engaged when we need to rally for any legislative or regulatory challenges. I gotta say, it's been really quiet since I came on board. The AHA really did help legalize homebrewing in all 50 states. You all should know it was 2013 when Mississippi and Alabama were the last two states that got legalized. And my predecessors at the AHA certainly were engaged behind the scenes, plus the local homebrewing community in each of those states had advocates to make that happen. We've had a little activity. I stood ready to support one state, which was trying to get a homebrewer engaged bill to evolve what homebrewers were allowed to do, and less stringency on serving their homebrew at festivals, right? That's just not a slam dunk. That's state by state. So I don't really have an answer except to say we pay attention to the federal side of things. And then on the state level, the AHA, I mean, it's a very important role. We stand ready to support any local homebrew state community that has the majority of homebrew clubs aligned on something they want to see happen, and that they've engaged with their state brewers guild, because frankly, and I can connect any, homebrew club with state brewers guilds, and you have to have a legislator, frankly, author and champion any language for changes. It's not it's not, you can't make those laws change. That's why our elected officials are in place. But the state brewers guilds in all 50 states, which finally happened in 2014, they are the ones with the relationships to all the regulators. So if something for beer comes up on the homebrew side, they're going to go straight to their contacts at the distributor lobby in their state, and then also the state brewers guilds, executive directors and leadership, and say, what's up with this homebrewing law? Are you behind it or for it? And it'll be dead in the water if the state guild says we're not for it. So I stand ready to help, and I need, Sasha, we need help. We should be building our bench again, because on the federal level, would love to see homebrew in our lifetime, homebrew shipping for competitions legalized. Very complex. And just to give momentum to that would be great. I was very far down the path with UPS, not USPS, because the Federal Postal Service will be a huge mountain to get alcohol legalized to ship. The licensed alcohol producers, including craft beer brewers and the Brewers Association, are still on that path trying to do it. But private carrier, right? And I look at private carriers, UPS, FedEx, potentially you could look at Amazon, which is wacky, but they're a shipper. We had UPS at the table, and it stalled at the fact that we were trying to say any home brewer should be able to ship to competitions. This is sensory beverages for analysis. And they have a infrastructure, a software system that requires an account. And so we said, well, what if the AHA creates an account? Okay, then our members could be under that account. But then under that software system, under your account, you had to then say which compliance you have set up for your beverage alcohol that you are individually shipping. So their software was not designed for individual shipments of unlicensed alcohol, regardless of the fact that we solved if you need an account, our membership could be under that account. And then they ghosted us at the end when they realized there was that stall, because I was like, well, what can we do to get you all to change your software? What can we do to get that infrastructure updated? So we need people who are ready to fight on the federal level to help us do that. And also on the local level to be ready to support homebrewers when they need it on their state cause. I saw a bunch of chats go, and I don't know what any of them said, so I will read them. Great question, though, Sasha. And, Andy Carter's past president now and have become close with him. And the leadership on the California Homebrewers Association side, who obviously changed the laws twice in California, especially geared towards the fest, the event. They know how to get shit done. So the question kind of to me would be, what needs to be done? I don't know on the local level what would need to be done state by state, unless an organized community comes to us. Then we will be there, support you. And as I said, kind of put you through that infrastructure of making sure you check boxes that we need to see checked, and then we'll get engaged. I am not opposed to coming out, flying, testifying on anything and the like, but there's a method to the madness, and anyone that needs that method because they want to accomplish anything, they should just reach out.
Thank you.
Well, I got another quick question.
Okay.
I don't mean to monopolize this thing, but so what's going to happen with the Brew Guru app? I mean, is that
that was sunset? That was sunset early in my tenure. Brew Guru app might be saved on your phone, but it hasn't been supported for years. We put out multiple communications over multiple years. And what the AHA did, I don't know if you know the notion of mobile responsive. The Brew Guru app was geared, AHA app for anyone that didn't know what it is. It had a few bells and whistles, but it was really geared towards your member deals. And so you can save your member deals to your home screen still to this day. We have a whole how-to on that, and it's mobile responsive. So it's just basically going to the website from your home screen. And so it was exponentially financially not worth it. And I didn't even make those decisions. When I came in, it was already on the way out to not be supported and to be sunset. And I frankly agreed with that decision. To rebuild an app, you need to be prepared to maintain it. There's constant bugs every 30, 60, 90 days. It's a big financial investment. And for our members' money was not positioned to support that app when especially you could get what you needed mostly from it by the solution that was put in place. So you have it on your phone. You might as well delete it. Sorry. but it's been gone since like 2022. And it was nice while it lasted. I also looked at the numbers, and it did not have the usage numbers I would have expected. So I was surprised by that.
I'm actually going to piggyback off of that question because I was thinking the same thing about the Brew Guru app. This is Marshall, by the way.
Yep.
I'm curious because I felt like the Brew Guru app did a good job of trying to meet modern homebrewers where they're at, right? We know everybody's using their iPhones, they're using apps. It's kind of the world. When the Brew Guru app came out, that was kind of the world we were all in. What kinds of ideas are getting tossed around right now for modernizing, this association? And I'm not thinking just specifically about the fact that it's homebrewing, but you look at all kind of club, paid associations that are out there, and having to do something or a lot of things, as a matter of fact, to keep modern, to keep their paying folk. I'm just curious what you guys have tossed around. What are some of the newer ideas you guys might be having?
I love it, and I'm not going to do a hard pass because I've got plenty of ideas that I would love to see instituted. But what's really going to be fun is with getting committees set by the fall, if not earlier, because we're getting kind of more to the middle and the end of the summer. The committee members will be able to contribute to our innovation considerations and what we budget for, and I think that's a huge opportunity where I want to know what members think we should be investing in. I have a whole litany of things that I think AHA should invest in, and maybe I'll get my way. I think the process should be equitable, and in terms of what our board of directors approves, that's where the rubber will meet the road. But you're absolutely right. It's technology, right? A national organization that actually has resources should be leading in the tech, making it available to the community. Everything from powerful searches to better ways to look and view our recipes. I still think that's really clunky and not dynamic at all. So I really am excited without kind of committing, because I don't know if what I'm going to be suggesting with the vendors, and have already identified costs and whatnot, will get instituted, but look for much more powerful web based serving if we go in that direction, and using tech and AI to really empower the people that are using the AHA resources. Also, too, maybe how we communicate as committees. Very excited to see that evolve. And I will say AHA forum update. It was just one small example, but it was an example of new things that we've done. And going to Discourse, the community's really been pleased with that. AHA forum under Discourse, again, not Discord, it's a different platform. Really great integration. If you were on the old AHA forum, which had been around since I think 2015 and when it was started, you couldn't post videos, you couldn't post photos. It was so clunky. The search feature didn't work on it. And I was just like, how is this okay? And it's sometimes okay because you don't have the ability to prioritize fixing it. And so through our work, and frankly, some of the committee that was in place in the last few years and staff that was in place, we did get it evolved. So that's exciting example. I'm looking at all your chat too while you're going.
Check out that question from Andrew regarding USPS.
I'm highly familiar with that. USPS, that's all licensed alcohol. That's beer catching up to wine. Beer was asleep at the wheel, y'all. Wine's more than 45 states for DTC, direct-to-consumer shipping. Beer's like 10 plus. So the beer lobby on all sides, craft brewer and large brewer, just was not, I guess, on the ball. And so, yep, the Brewers Association, big work behind that. But until that ever passes, AHA and homebrewing would never have a chance. This is the first thing, and that's licensed alcohol. It's all about control and taxes regarding this act. Ours is about sensory analysis and competitions. And I'd love to see homebrewers be able to ship homebrew legally, right, as presence out of state, in state as well. But I think the first notch on our belt should be shipping for competitions, because it really bothers me that so many homebrewers currently today, and me included, over here on my wall is some of my homebrew medals and my beer library. Like, I don't like shipping thinking I'm going to get in trouble. That doesn't feel good every time I do it.
Yeah. So you're saying instead of trying to piggyback on what they're doing now, get that in place and then build on it. Is that the idea?
They're going to get that in place so that at least shows proof of concept for licensed beverage alcohol on the federal level through the U.S. Postal Service. That's USPS. I'm saying, yes, let's watch that unfold because the beer lobby is very organized now and really engaged in that. But we should be discussing with private carrier because USPS is so persnickety about alcohol. And this bill is what is going to have to carry the day, and it's going to still take mountains to get it passed. We should be going after private carrier and using our network for anyone within the homebrewing community that works at any of these private carriers to get us to talk to the right people. So one day we can just chip away at all their roadblocks and have it not be a problem anymore. So John, I see John Bout, if I'm saying that right. My homebrew club dissolved after COVID. I have no idea how to even start to reboot it. How could AHA help? That's exactly what I'm ready to help with. We just got to get more resources together and basically serve the officers. So I think if you have a small group of people that have a fledgling club, a thriving club, or want to start a club, the core is getting those officers engaged with our new clubs committee. And that clubs committee, I think, is going to start to fly and really resource clubs. We do have a model code of conduct now that clubs can use. We do have a lot of how-tos, but I'd like to modernize those and use the new club committee and that group to get at what clubs want to do. 2 years in a row, San Diego, and then AHA at GABF, which was when we announced National Homebrew Competition Awards in October in 2024. We had the Homebrew Club Boot Camp. I ran it as a nonprofit professional. I really put a lot of time into that and believed in it. The officers that showed up, 2-hour workshop, some flew in, 50 people flew in early in San Diego to go to this workshop. Not as many in Denver, but GABF's a kind of a different beast and animal. So engaged. If you read Zymergy, I summarized all the whiteboards of we did problems, possibilities for homebrew clubs, and parking lot items. And I'd love the AHA to get to those parking lot items. I definitely plan to put that in front of the clubs committee once they're really up and running. And I think there's a lot sitting there. The clubs have already identified the officers through those 2 workshops to tell us what clubs need the AHA to work on. What month was that summary of the homebrew boot camp? Why don't one of you ask me a question while I'm looking through Zymergy archive? Nope, I might have it next to me. Let me answer that in a moment, please. We have Zymergy, by the way, with member access back to 2000, which is pretty amazing. So if you ever get Zymergy, I highly recommend getting the print, and then you can opt out of the print if you want, but they're all digitally available as well. Who else has any thoughts, questions, comments? What are you all drinking, brewing?
I'm going to pop in real quick just to thank you so much. We're coming up to the end of the hour. Obviously, you are free to hang out with our patrons for as long as you want. That's totally fine. But I really do. Your passion for improving this thing that was once so big and that has, I don't know, it's struggled over the last few years, I think really comes through. And I have to imagine I'm not alone in appreciating that, because we all want to see this hobby continue to thrive and to grow, especially from where it's at today. So thank you so much for everything you're doing for homebrewers and for everything that you've done for us today, coming in and answering these questions. If you guys have any questions, now's your time to ask them. Don't be shy. Julia's very open when it comes to this stuff. So, but again, I just wanted to thank you. I do have to run here shortly. My daughter is flying home from grandma's house and I got to go pick her up at the airport. But thank you, Julia.
All right. Right on, Marshall. Cheers to you. Thank you right back. And we can wrap it up. I'll just say, in terms of me answering which issue of Zymergy, please, Eric, just email me. We're going to already email and then I can find it. It's within the last year. It was after October 2024.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. This is awesome.
Awesome. Well, maybe I'll mosey on down. Rhonda Vincent's getting ready to play after Peter Rowan and then the String Dusters. But I really appreciate your all's time. I am available, ed@homebrewersassociation.org. If I don't respond to an email, just like the rest of us, because I missed it, I honestly am here to do this, right? So don't be shy. Reach out. Become a part of AHA. So when you're critical from the inside, not the outside. Or when you applaud, you're applauding because you know what it took to do it. But we've got a great body of work to work from and with. AHA being independent is such a big deal. There's just so much excitement and enthusiasm, and it's just going to take a little time for it to all unfold. But starting in 2026, look for it to start to pop more, and hopefully you all are proud and pleased and contribute where you see fit. And it's all about what you gain from it, right? You give what you give, but it's all about getting something out of it too. So I'm a big believer in that. Right on, Pierogi. Appreciate visiting you. And any chat that I didn't address, email me, tell me what I need to know. And cheers to you all. And happy Sunday night. Happy summer.
I hope
Go ahead, Charles.
I hope you have a presence at the GABF. I don't necessarily need to hang out with rock stars, but I sure would like to spend a few quality hours with the brewers there in the new venue, if you will.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that one up. Look for a much more modest, just small, grassroots, scrappy AHA booth. AHA GABF was a one-time anomaly because we didn't have HomebrewCon and we needed a place for our awards.
Sure.
I was pleased with it, and that was a one-time thing. So Charles, come find us. We will be in the hall. I will be there with a couple of our board members and some of your new staffers, and that'd be so great to hang out.
Sounds good.
Okay, sweet. Be well, y'all. Thanks.
Huge thanks to Julia for taking the time to do this session. Given all that's been going on with the AHA over the years, I genuinely believe that this is a step in a positive direction, and I look forward to seeing what becomes of this modern version of the AHA. Also, all of the love in the world to our amazing patrons who believe in and enjoy what we're doing enough to throw a few bucks our way so that we can continue doing it. I absolutely mean it when I say that we would not be here today if it weren't for our patrons. So if you're listening to this show right now, you have them to thank for that. If you're interested in becoming a patron yourself, you can head over to patreon.com/Brülosophy to view all of the rewards we offer for helping us out. Don't forget to check out The Brülosophy Show over at youtube.com/@The Show. If you like what we're producing on this podcast, we're confident you're going to love what Martin's making over at The Brülosophy Show. And remember to head over to Brülosophy.com to stay current on everything we are up to. The Brülosophy podcast is made possible by the generous support of our sponsors as well as all of our rad listeners. We seriously could not do this without you. Cheers to everyone who has subscribed and left a review of our show. It makes a huge difference. If you haven't yet, please consider doing so. Head over to Brülosophy.com/support to view a list of ways you can easily help us to continue producing this podcast. If you want a reward for your support, visit patreon.com/Brülosophy. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Brülosophy podcast. Until then, think beer.
Start off the morning with some hot tea, lemon and honey cause it suits my throat. Put some herb in the bowl, yeah, it's homegrown. Ain't gotta go through the middleman, no.